shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace.
My name is John Simmons, and I am a retired physician. One story that has just indelibly etched in my mind is a young woman in her 20s. She came in and just for a routine checkup, but she asked me to tell her where she could go to get an abortion. She was really in a bad marriage. Her husband was at least psychologically and verbally abusive to her. He was an alcoholic and just didn't want to bring a child into that type of situation. So she asked me if I could tell her where to go and get an abortion. I tried to do this in a non-judgmental way, but I said, I cannot in good conscience tell you that because I just cannot participate in that decision for you. I went on to tell her that by law, I was required, if she asked, to tell her where to have an abortion. And I even told her that she had every right to report me to the state medical board. They could arrest me or take action against my medical license. She was quiet and was not argumentative or anything. And I didn't see her for a long, long time, but it was probably about 2 years later. She came into my office. She said, the reason I came today was to thank you for not telling me where to have an abortion. Then she went on to tell how her husband had gotten worse and his treatment of her and how he had gotten in trouble and was actually in prison for a pretty long time. And she said, in her words, my son is all I have now. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have him. And she thanked me, just knowing that there's a young man now who's old enough to have his own children, a man that I never met, but that he was alive and had his own life because of that brief encounter that we had. And that's just very meaningful to me. And so there is hope out there. I mean, sometimes we talk about pro-choice and pro-life and all those types of labels that we put on things. There's hope even after you get to that point. But I think the Pregnancy Center does a wonderful job of trying to point young women into better alternatives. And just because you make a bad choice, you don't have to make another bad choice on top of that. In the spirit of forgiveness and redemption and all, it's not so much what you've done in the past, it's what you do next that really is important. And that's where the Pregnancy Center, I think, is doing such a wonderful job of pointing young women to better options, to be able to have a better future, not only for themselves, but for their children. Fortunately, a lot of our mistakes we can rewind and go back and undo them, but the finality of an abortion, you can't undo that. It's a decision that really needs to be made not out of panic or fear, but one that you've got to be weighing all of your alternatives. The way the Pregnancy Center approaches these people, it's in a very caring and supportive way, and I can count on that. We're not there to beat up on people, we're there to help show them a better way. To help people, it requires funds. Again, so many of the women that come to the Pregnancy Center don't have that support system at home or with family, and the center here goes a long way in trying to help the young women where they can actually earn some of the things that they need, to care for their child. The reason they're thinking about an abortion in the first place is they know that they cannot afford or or have access to the things that the child's going to need. But the center gives them other alternatives. Say, look, we can help you and bring this child into the world and give you the things you need. But because of the volume of people that are being helped, you just have to have funds to do that. And the pregnancy center and the donors that are so generous to help in the center are able to help provide that support, and that saves a baby's life. That's worth giving money for. It's worth it.